For 2 years, he fed a stray cat that appeared outside his home. Then, one day, the cat suddenly led him to a locked door, where he found something that left him stunned. Every single day for 2 years, the routine never changed. Roger would step outside at 4:15 p.m. and set down a small dish of tuna. And the cat would be there, waiting on the concrete step like a palace guard. Calm blue eyes locked on the door before it even opened. But today the step was empty. Nothing but cold November wind pushing dead leaves across the walkway. Roger stood there, holding the dish with a feeling that something had gone terribly wrong. "Hector?" he called softly. "Hector, where are you?" Silence answered him. Roger set the dish down anyway. Maybe the cat was late. Maybe he found a warm spot in the sun and fell asleep. Cats often do that. They are unpredictable. But not Hector. He was never late. Not in 2 full years. That cat had a clock inside his skull more accurate than any watch Roger had ever owned. Roger Kessler was 74 years old. He lived alone in a tired brick building on Alderman Street. The building had 6 floors, 42 apartments, and almost no sense of community left. People moved in, people moved out. Nobody said hello in the elevator. Nobody knocked on doors to borrow sugar. The hallways smelled like cleaning solution and loneliness. Roger had retired from the post office 11 years ago. His wife, Elaine, passed away 8 years after that. After this, the days blurred together. Monday felt like Thursday. Breakfast felt like dinner. His daughter lived in Vancouver. She called every day. Roger would talk for 5 minutes, say he was fine, and hang up. Then one afternoon, 2 years ago, a cat appeared. Before we continue, a like and subscribe would mean a lot. Thank you for being here. Now back to the story. What comes next is worth staying for. Roger remembers that first meeting perfectly. He was sitting on the front step, just doing nothing, watching traffic pass. And then a shape moved at the edge of his vision, slow and deliberate, like royalty entering a room. A Siamese cat, large for a stray, with cream-colored fur that looked almost golden in the late afternoon sun. Dark chocolate markings on his face, ears, paws, and tail, and those eyes, bright and piercing blue, the kind of blue you see in old paintings of saints. He was deeply, impossibly calm. The cat sat down 3 feet from Roger and looked at him with an expression that said, "I am here now. You may proceed." Roger laughed out loud. "Well," he said, "you are certainly full of yourself." The cat blinked once, slowly, as if agreeing. Roger went inside. He found a small piece of cooked fish. He brought it back out and set it on the step. The cat approached the dish with careful dignity. He sniffed it twice, then slowly ate. "I think I will call you Hector," Roger said. "You look like Hector." The cat did not object. From that day forward, Hector appeared every afternoon. Same time, same step, same regal posture. Roger would bring the food. Hector would eat. Sometimes Roger would talk to him, about the weather, about a book he was reading, about past. Hector would sit and listen with his blue eyes half closed, never interrupting or judging. Roger started looking forward to 4:15 p.m. Then he started counting down the hours until 4:15 p.m. Then he started planning his entire day around 4:15 p.m. The cat gave his life a shape again, a reason to get dressed, to go to the store. He told no one about him. This was his secret, his small, quiet piece of joy. And now, Hector was gone. Roger waited 15 minutes on the step. The food grew cold and the wind picked up. He checked behind the bushes and walked around the side of the building. He called out again and again. Nothing. He went back inside and checked the mailroom, the laundry room, the parking garage. No cat anywhere. Then he heard it. Faint, almost too quiet to catch, but unmistakable. A meow, high-pitched and urgent, coming from somewhere above him. Roger froze. He tilted his head and listened harder. There it was again, a desperate meow. He stepped into the stairwell. It was coming from upstairs. Roger grabbed the railing and started climbing. His knees protested. He had not climbed stairs in months. 3rd floor. The sound was louder now. 4th floor. Louder still. 5th floor. His heart hammered against his ribs. He pushed through the stairwell door into the hallway. And there was Hector. The Siamese cat sat in front of apartment 561, his cream-colored body pressed against the door. His blue eyes were wide, wild. Nothing calm about them now. Hector meowed again and looked at Roger, then at the door, then back at Roger. He stood up and paced 3 steps left, 3 steps right. Then he sat down again and meowed even louder. "Hector, what are you doing up here?" Roger knelt down slowly. He reached out to touch the cat. Hector dodged his hand. He stood up and pressed his nose against the gap under the door and inhaled deeply. Then he let out the most gut-wrenching meow Roger had ever heard. Something was wrong behind that door. Roger stood up and knocked. 3 firm raps. "Hello? Is anyone home?" No answer. He knocked harder. "Hello? This is Roger from the 2nd floor. Is everything all right?" Silence. Hector scratched at the door. His claws left pale marks on the dark wood. He looked up at Roger with an expression that made Roger's blood run cold, like pleading. Roger pulled out his phone. He did not know who lived in this apartment. He called the building superintendent, Darren Voigt. "Darren, it is Roger Kessler, 2nd floor." "Roger, everything okay?" "I am not sure. I am standing outside apartment 561. Something feels wrong. A cat led me up here. I know that sounds strange." 561? That is Mrs. Albright's place. Beatrice Albright, quiet lady. Has anyone seen her recently? Darren paused. "I don't know. Maybe she went somewhere. Want me to come up?" "Yes, bring your keys." Roger hung up and looked at Hector. The cat had stopped pacing, his blue eyes fixed on the door handle, waiting with a patience that seemed almost human, as if he understood that help was finally coming. 8 minutes later, Darren arrived. He carried a ring of master keys. With him came 2 other residents, Frank from the 4th floor and some young woman he didn't know. "What is going on?" Frank asked. He was a big man with a white beard, former firefighter. He smelled like pipe tobacco. "I do not know yet," Roger said, "but the cat seems certain something is wrong." Frank looked at Hector. "That is one serious-looking cat." "He is," Roger agreed. Darren stepped forward with the key. He knocked first. "Mrs. Albright, this is Darren, the super. We are checking on you. Going to open the door now, okay?" Nothing. Darren turned the key. He pushed the door open slowly. The apartment was dark, curtains drawn tight. A narrow hallway led to a small living room with magazines stacked on a table and a television playing softly with the sound almost off. Then they saw her. Beatrice Albright lay on the kitchen floor. She was on her side. A bruise the color of thunderclouds spread across her temple. Her eyes were barely open. "Oh God," Frank said. He knelt beside her, pressed 2 fingers to her neck. "She has got a pulse. Somebody call an ambulance, now." The young woman already had her phone out. She dialed with shaking hands. Roger stood in the doorway. His legs felt like wet cardboard. He watched them try to make her comfortable. And then he felt something press against his ankle, warm and soft. He looked down. Hector sat beside him. The cat's blue eyes were no longer wild. They were calm again, as if a heavy burden had finally been lifted. "You knew," Roger whispered. "You knew she was in trouble." Hector blinked, the way he always did when he agreed with something. The paramedics arrived in 11 minutes. They loaded Beatrice onto a stretcher. She was barely conscious now, mumbling something about her hip, about falling, about calling for help but nobody hearing. "How long has she been down?" the lead paramedic asked. "We do not know exactly," Darren said. "At least a full day, maybe more." The paramedic's face tightened. Another few hours and this could have been a very different outcome. Roger felt the weight of those words settle on his chest. In an apartment building with 41 other units full of people, nobody checking, nobody noticing the silence. Except a cat. They took Beatrice to Mercy General Hospital. Hector had disappeared again after the paramedics left, back to wherever he spent his nights. Roger did not sleep that night. The next morning, he went to the hospital. He brought flowers, yellow chrysanthemums wrapped in clear plastic. He felt foolish carrying them. He did not even know this woman. He found Beatrice in room 221. "Mrs. Albright?" Roger spoke softly from the doorway. "My name is Roger Kessler. I live in your building, second floor." Beatrice turned her head slowly. Her gray-green eyes focused on him with surprising clarity. "You found me," she said. Her voice was thin and scratchy, like old paper rustling. "I did. Well, actually, the cat found you. I just followed him." Beatrice's expression changed. Something warm and broken moved across her face. Her eyes glistened. "The cat," she repeated. "My honey." Roger blinked. "Excuse me?" "Honey, the Siamese cat. Cream fur, blue eyes. He visits me every evening. I feed him on my kitchen windowsill. He has been coming to me for almost 2 years." Roger stood very still. The flowers trembled in his hand. A strange sensation moved through his body, like the feeling of a puzzle piece sliding into place, a piece you did not even know was missing. "Cream fur," Roger said slowly. "Dark markings on his face and ears, bright blue eyes. Sits like he owns the place. That is him. That is my honey." Beatrice smiled despite the pain. It transformed her face entirely. "He comes every evening around 6. Very polite, very dignified. I give him sardines." Roger felt a laugh building in his chest. It burst out before he could stop it. A real laugh, full and warm and slightly helpless. "What is so funny?" Beatrice asked, but she was already smiling wider. "I have been feeding that same cat for 2 years, every afternoon at 4:15. I call him Hector." Beatrice stared at him. Then she started laughing too. It turned into a cough. "Hector?" she said. "You call him Hector?" "He looks like a Hector." "He looks like a honey." "With all due respect, Mrs. Albright, that cat has far too much dignity to be called honey." Beatrice laughed again. Tears leaked from the corners of her eyes, some from pain, some from something else entirely. 2 years, she said, shaking her head. 2 years we have been feeding the same cat, same building, and we have never once met. 42 apartments, Roger said quietly, and nobody talks to anybody. "You know," Beatrice said after a long pause, "he tried to warn me. The night I fell, he was at the window, meowing and meowing. I was trying to get to the kitchen to open it for him. That is when my hip gave out." Roger's chest tightened. "He came to your window and you did not answer." "I could not. I was on the floor." The room was very quiet. Roger set the chrysanthemums on the bedside table. They looked less foolish now. "He is a very good cat," Beatrice whispered. "The best," Roger agreed. "So what do we call him?" Roger smiled. "Hector. Definitely Hector. It suits a cat who saves lives." Beatrice tilted her head, turning the name over in her mind. "Hector," she repeated. "All right, Hector it is, but only because he earned it." Beatrice stayed in the hospital for 9 days. She was lucky. The doctors said that word repeatedly. Roger visited every day. He brought chrysanthemums 3 more times before Beatrice told him to stop wasting money on flowers and bring crossword puzzles instead. When Beatrice came home from the hospital,
Roger helped her settle in. He carried her bags, organized her medications, and stocked her refrigerator. And Hector? Hector developed a new routine. In the mornings, he appeared at Roger's door on the second floor. Same regal posture, same calm blue eyes. Roger would open the door and set down food. Hector would eat, and Roger would sit beside him with his coffee and tell the cat about his plans for the day. In the evenings, Hector appeared at Beatrice's kitchen window on the 5th floor. She would open it and set out a small plate of sardines. Hector would eat, and Beatrice would tell him about her afternoon. What she read, what Roger said that made her laugh.
The cat split his time with the precision of a factory clock. Morning shift with Roger, evening shift with Beatrice, as reliable as sunrise. But the real change was not about the cat. Roger started taking the elevator to the 5th floor, just to check in and to say hello. Then hello became a conversation. Conversation became tea. Tea became dinner twice a week. The other neighbors started talking to each other more too. And at the center of it all was a dignified Siamese cat who walked the hallways like he owned them, who sat in the lobby and observed the people passing by with the satisfied air of a king surveying his domain. "You know what the neighbors say?" Beatrice asked. "What?" "They say Hector has 2 homes now. 2 doors, 2 food dishes, and 2 people who spoil him rotten." Roger chuckled. "Is that not every cat's dream?" "I think it is every person's dream too. To belong somewhere, to be expected, to be missed when you do not show up." Roger looked at her. She looked at him. Hector purred between them. "He showed up at my door when I had nothing left," Roger said. "No purpose, no reason to get up. Then this ridiculous, beautiful cat sat on my step and decided I was his person. He decided I was his person too. He was right both times." Thank you for being here until the end of the story. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me continue sharing stories that deserve to be told.